What if I told you the most expensive thing you own might not be what you think? Daniel Reeves was a self-made CEO, rich, respected, and ruthless. But beneath the million-dollar smile, he was a man haunted by silence and a watch that never stopped ticking. He wore that old watch every day, scratched, faded, unfashionable. Nobody understood why. But that little piece of metal was holding a secret worth more than his entire fortune. Before we begin, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video if you believe life sometimes hides miracles in the smallest places. Daniel Reeves, 46, CEO of one of Silicon Valley's biggest software companies. He drove Teslas, wore Rolexes, yet still kept that old brown leather watch on his wrist, the one his late father gave him. His assistant, Emily, 29, once asked, "Sir, why don't you just wear something that fits your brand?" Daniel smiled slightly. "Because this isn't about brand, Emily. It's about memory." And that's the kind of man he was, all logic, no faith. Until life hit him harder than he ever imagined. It started with one bad investment, then another. Within months, his billion-dollar empire began to crumble. The media called it the fall of Reeves Tech. Investors backed out. Friends disappeared. Daniel, for the first time in 20 years, sat in silence, watching the city skyline, his reflection fading against the glass. He whispered, "Dad, I did everything right. Why does it feel so wrong?" As he leaned back, his old watch slipped off his wrist and hit the floor. Click. The backplate popped open. Inside, something tiny gleamed. A folded note, handshaking. Daniel unfolded it. It was his father's handwriting, shaky but strong. "If you're reading this, my boy, it means you've lost something you thought defined you. Remember, what's built with heart lasts longer than what's built with hands. Follow the numbers inside the watch. They'll take you home." Daniel turned the watch over, and there they were, tiny coordinates, engraved behind the glass. He typed them into Google Maps. It pointed to Montana, the small town where he'd grown up before chasing Silicon Valley Dre the next morning. Daniel packed his bags. No jet, no driver, just his old car and a full tank of gas. The city faded behind him. Concrete turned to trees, noise turned to silence. He arrived at a small cabin by the lake, abandoned, dusty, forgotten. It was his childhood home. Inside, on the wooden table, was a small chest with the initials RR. Robert Reeves. He opened it, expecting money, stocks, maybe documents. Instead, there were letters, photos, and a single old key. One letter said, "This key opens what I built before you were born." Not a business, a home for those who never had one. If you truly want to understand wealth, find it, rebuild it, and protect it. He looked out the window, behind the lake, a shadow of a ruined building. Daniel walked to the site, the old orphanage his father once built, but had to close due to debt. He stood in silence, tears rolling down his face. "Dad, I thought you left me money, but you left me something much bigger." In that moment, he realized the real fortune wasn't hidden in the watch. It was hidden behind it, in his father's legacy of giving. Months later, Daniel sold the remains of his company. He rebuilt that orphanage, naming it the Reeves Foundation, offering education, food, and hope to hundreds of kids. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, cameras flashed. Reporters asked, "Mr. Reeves, why walk away from billions to rebuild an old orphanage?" He smiled softly, looking down at his wrist. "Because I finally realized my father didn't give me a watch to tell time. He gave it to remind me what really matters before time runs out. Sometimes the richest man is the one who finds his purpose, not his profit." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because maybe your hidden fortune is still waiting to be found.